Welcome, class! Today's explainer is really going to radically change how we view the upcoming 2026 Aries Stellium. We're breaking down the actual mechanics of cosmic movement. Think of this as your personal masterclass on the shifting architecture of our reality. It's so easy to get totally lost in the hype of astrology online. But today, we're stripping all that back. We're looking at the structural truth of what's actually happening up there in the sky.
So I want to start by asking you a question. What if the exact date of a cosmic event doesn't actually matter? I know. As students of the stars, we completely obsess over precise calendar dates. We wait for a specific Tuesday, circle it in red ink, and just kind of expect the sky to fall or the gates of heaven to open. But the profound truth we're drawing from our source material today is that a timestamp is not a transformation. A date on a calendar gives us a mathematical absolute, sure, but it absolutely cannot contain the full, messy expression of human experience.
All right, here is our syllabus for today's explainer. 1. Beyond the exact moment. 2. Architects of the environment. 3. Inner planets as catalysts. And 4. Identifying your personal shift. Let's jump right into Section 1, Beyond the Exact Moment, the myth of the precise timestamp.
We really need to dismantle this pop astrology myth of sudden, jagged cosmic changes. A lot of pop astrology treats change like a light switch, right? Reducing these massive cosmic shifts down to a single exact minute where reality just instantly toggles from one state to another. Boom, new era. But the truth? It's way closer to a weather pattern. Astrological transitions are continuous, slow-moving currents. They fundamentally alter the atmosphere over time. The clearly defined sectors of the sky don't enforce sudden changes. They represent a continuous current where transitions unfold organically, with one state slowly giving way to another.
See, when we reduce these massive shifts to a single exact moment on paper, we're compressing the process. We completely ignore the messy, unfolding reality of actually living. We get a clean timeline, sure, but it looks nothing like actual human experience. Life is a narrative of becoming. It builds, it repeats, it unfolds, and we meet it in motion. So looking at the coming 2026 Aries Stellium, we literally have to stop asking exactly when it happens and start asking what kind of process that exact point actually belongs to.
Moving on to Section 2, Architects of the Environment, the heavyweights at the gateway.
Okay, to understand this process, we first have to understand exactly where it's happening, the 0-degree Aries gateway. Now, this isn't just some random boundary, it is the most potent degree in the entire zodiac. Think of it like a double start. On one hand, it represents mathematical zero, meaning all previous data is wiped entirely clean, a total blank slate. And at the exact same time, it's the cardinal fire of Aries, the sign of pure initiation. So at this specific gateway, historical continuity is at its absolute weakest, and the drive for new initiation is at its absolute strongest.
And just look at who is arriving at this gateway. What makes this alignment a fascinating, truly historical anomaly is the simultaneous arrival of two generational heavyweights, Saturn and Neptune. Fast-moving planets cross this line every single year. But Saturn? Saturn only visits every 29 years, acting as our structural architect. And Neptune? Wow! Neptune hasn't stood at this threshold since the mid-19th century. To have both of these planetary giants arrive at this zero point at the exact same time, that basically defies easy tracking in recorded history. It signals the death of an old worldview and the labor pains of a new one. It's nothing less than a hard reboot of our shared reality.
But remember our weather pattern analogy from earlier. These outer planets do not just do something on a single day. Because of retrograde motion, they actually create a year-long zero-point corridor of grinding, back-and-forth movement. The shift doesn't happen at a specific hour. It forms over a full year. In spring 2025, they entered the territory separately, and the old environment began dissolving. By February 20th, 2026, we hit the exact transit. But really, that's just a single day within a prolonged period of sustained proximity where they move back and forth across the boundary. We are actually living inside the zero point. By April 2026, they exit, and we emerge from the corridor, not onto solid ground, mind you, but into a completely new, fundamentally altered baseline condition of our world. The corridor itself is the event.
Which brings us to Section 3, Inner Planets as Catalysts, the Parade of Activators. If the outer planets built a new environment, class, we now have to ask, what actually triggers the action within it? Nothing in astrology operates in total isolation. You have the outer planets on one side, Saturn and Neptune, who establish the setting. They change the baseline, they create the background atmospheric field. They're basically the stage builders.
On the other side, we have the inner planets. Their job? To activate. They translate those massive atmospheric conditions, personalize them, accelerate them, and enforce this new reality in our everyday lives. So once that heavy atmospheric stage is set at 0 degrees Aries, a parade begins. Between February and May of 2026, a rapid succession of inner planets, Venus, Mars, Mercury, the Sun, and the Moon, all cross that exact same boundary. And every single time one of these fast-moving bodies crosses the line, it doesn't create a new event, it re-engages the main event. Look, when a boundary is crossed once, it's a change. When it's crossed repeatedly by every major body in the inner system, it becomes totally unavoidable. What started as this massive abstract generational shift suddenly becomes an immediate, deeply personal reality.
All right, let's look at Section 4, Identifying Your Personal Shift, the New Rules of Engagement.
So how do we actually apply this cosmic weather pattern to our daily lives once we emerge from this corridor? The crucial point is this. When we emerge, human response has to change. Your old 5-year plans, they're going to show signs of falling apart. And not necessarily because they were wrong, but because they belong to a world that simply no longer exists. You have to adapt to 3 new rules of engagement. First, action precedes structure. The era of the perfect blueprint is over. You got to build while in motion. Second, uncertainty is a feature. Waiting for complete clarity in a 0-degree Aries environment is basically a form of stagnation. Certainty is found only in the act of initiating. And third, the end of carryover. The universe is literally withdrawing its legacy support for past frameworks. Every single decision now requires fresh initiation.
Now, while these atmospheric conditions are collective, right, we are all going through this corridor together, the application is deeply, deeply personal. Where the heavy rain falls for you is going to be based on your individual structural alignment. For one student, this total reset might surface in work and career. For another, it might shatter and rebuild their closest relationships, or fundamentally alter their health and wellness, finances, or even their structural management of time itself. The conditions are shared, for sure, but the application is uniquely yours.
To wrap up today's masterclass, I really want you to burn this realization from our source material into your minds. The transition isn't just a bridge between two states. The transition is the transformation. We have to stop looking for the exact minute the world changed and instead honor the messy, incredibly powerful process of navigating the corridor itself.
As you review your own charts and reflect on your own lives today, I want to leave you with this final thought. Where's the weather changing for you? Where in your life do you need to finally stop waiting for the perfect blueprint, embrace the uncertainty, and simply start building in motion? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really look forward to exploring the stars with you again next time. Keep initiating.